Well, thank you for having me, and please tell everybody to come out November 18th in the afternoon. Meeting starts at 2 o'clock. We have public comment, and it can be brief. It can only be 30 seconds, 1 minute, but we would love to even just have them in the audience, because if this gets approved, this is a big day in Orange County. It will be a big day in Orange County.
All right, so we are here with Roseann Harrington, who is the Chief of Staff to Mayor Demings, and we're here to talk about the Film Incentive Program, which I understand you are the chair of. So could you talk to us a little bit of why you decided to get involved in this effort and why it's so personal to you?
Film has a long history in Orange County, going back to the 90s. We all remember when Disney MGM Studios opened and Universal had Nickelodeon. And so we have two of the largest names in film here in our community, and yet we have walked away from incentivizing film production and TV series. And so I think and we have a tremendous number of film schools. And so we have everything that we need, however, we don't have the incentive. And I think that there was a lot of interest in the community, and I have to give credit to Commissioner Emily Bonilla, who first brought this up before she finished up as a commissioner, and she brought up the topic, and then the board agreed to do a working group and for me to lead it. And so it's been a fast track to get here, and that's because there's so much interest in the community.
Right, and let's go back to that, because that was a question. It was, Orange County is referred to as the Hollywood of the East, right? And it goes back to what you were saying about us once having those big prominent movie studios here. And then all of that ended in 2016, and the Film Incentive Program was eliminated. And so a lot of filmmakers started to move out of the county because there was a high cost for their productions. Why did that happen where that was the case?
The film incentives in that era came from the state. And the state shut down their incentives in 2016. And then as a result of that, most of the programs said, well, we don't have the incentives to lure the productions here. And so the film programs kind of dried up, and they became more about permitting and site selection for commercials and smaller projects. Now, a couple of them stayed around, like Film Tampa Bay. I have to give them credit that they stayed around, and maybe some others, maybe Miami, and they stayed around and they provided smaller incentives. But most of all, we had really nothing in Florida. It was like Florida closed up for business. And the business moved out of town. So I think part of the problem at that time was proving the return on investment. And I think state leaders had a hard time quantifying what the economic benefit was. And so it just became something that was competing with other issues, and it was an easy one to get rid of.
You mentioned in your tourist development presentation that Georgia is one of top three states, in the United States for film production. In addition to the film incentives, what are those states offering that you think Orange County can start to implement here?
In addition to the big film incentives, you've also had individuals like Tyler Perry, who has built a huge studio there. You have the owner of Chick-fil-A who built a production studio. So where there's one, two, others will follow. So they have created this system where they have the infrastructure in place for somebody who's going to come in town and tape a TV series or a movie, that they have the production facilities, and then they also have the incentive.
Oh, they have those incentives there in states like Georgia?
They have very large ones through the state.
Okay, and do you see, or how do you factor in rather that can matriculate down here in Orange County? Is it through the incentive program?
Well, one of the things that they don't have in Georgia is the pipeline of talent. And that's what we have here. We have a number of outstanding film production and commercial programs, educational programs from Full Sail, UCF, Valencia. Then we have some certificate programs. And so our students are being recruited to Georgia. From internships to permanent positions. So it's like a brain drain going up to Georgia. So instead of them investing in all that education, they said, oh, we'll just rely on Orlando and we'll just pull all their students.
Yeah.
So that benefits us because we've got the pipeline of talent.
Right.
And we also do have the production talent here in town that would love to stay here, that have been mobile and having to go do gig work someplace else. So I think we have that. And then we have studios here. Universal and Disney still have sound stages.
Yeah.
They might be using them for other things, but we're hopeful that if we start bringing business back to Orange County, that they will get in the game and start maybe enhancing their film studios to accommodate the need.
Yeah. Orlando, Orange County, is seen as a tourist destination, but that's mostly related to, theme parks and things of that nature. But can you explain the correlation between film productions and tourism and how the city could benefit from that?
Our program is going to utilize tourist development tax. And so therefore, it's got to be heavily based on bringing tourists here. And there's two ways we do that. Number one is just the production in and of itself.
Yeah.
When you have the talent coming here and they do the production, they stay in hotel rooms. For example, a Hallmark movie in St. Petersburg that was there for 3 weeks and they used 300 hotel rooms. That's a lot of hotel rooms.
Right.
The second part of that is the visibility. I don't know about you, but sometimes when I see something in a movie or a television series, I'm like, oh, I'd like to go visit that place. I'd like to visit that location.
Right.
And one of the things that we're really focused on is that when we bring our visitors, they predominantly stay in the tourism areas.
Yes.
And we have all these wonderful smaller towns like Winter Garden, Ocoee, Winter Park, that would love to have some of that tourism. And let me tell you how this connects to our cultural tourism.
Okay.
Because right now we focus on the traditional leisure traveler and the business traveler. Now we've added cultural tourism, sports tourism. But for our smaller organizations, arts organizations, to get cultural tourism funding, which comes through Orange County, they have to prove that they have room nights associated with their cultural event performance. If we start bringing and showcasing some of these other areas, visitors will come and stay in the local town or city, which helps justify the number of room nights, and now you have to provide entertainment for people who are visiting those smaller areas. Right. So it's a way for us to bring some visibility to other parts of Orange County.
Right, exactly. And then if people, like to what you said earlier, if people are watching films or TV productions that were shot here and seeing these, beautiful locations, they'll say, hey, where was that filmed? And then they want to go there, and then that hikes up tourism as well.
Yes.
To that degree, yeah. You also outlined that Orange County and the city of Orlando have the bulk of film production. And to me, that seems like incentive enough to provide funding for projects. But how else do you believe you can drive home the message to the decision makers on the vote of this that film and TV is equal to high economic growth?
Oh, there's so many benefits to film. In addition to the visibility that we will get by just having something taped here and then positively showing our community, you also have that talent we were talking about earlier coming to town, and we're requiring them to do some of that marketing, to do interviews here, to do social media that says, hey, I'm here in Orlando, Winter Garden, or Ocoee, or Windermere, and I'm having a great time. I just had dinner at this restaurant. So that's one way. And then the other is the economic benefit of those wages. Yeah. The average salary for somebody working in film production is $105,000 a year. Yeah. This is all union work and provides benefits in addition to the high wages. And then you also have the peripheral businesses like hairdressers, catering, tent companies, all of these things that are necessary for a film or TV production. I know because I live on a street in downtown where they do a lot of commercials, and I see everything going on for 2 days. I see them feeding people under a tent. I see everybody coming through. Yeah. And that's a lot of time and money being spent here. Yeah. So That's a lot of economic benefit. The one thing we're going to do a little differently this time to prove the return on investment is that we're only going to calculate based on how much they spend here.
Okay.
And that's why you saw the limits on the incentives, and I think we're going to get into that a little further, but that's another way is how we calculate the incentives to find a more truer, so it's not so much estimating and imputing, you're actually giving them how much was spent here.
Right. And actually we can go there because that was my next question too, because you talked about the benefits of the incentive as well. So I want to make sure, I want to get this accurate. So if approved, it would allocate $5 million annually between 2026 and 2030 for tourist tax revenue, which is a 20% rebate on film and TV production costs capped at $1 million per project, and a 10% rebate for commercials capped at $50,000. So how did you come up with those numbers, and do you believe it's a good start in reintroducing this program to Orange County?
We spent, the working group was comprised of subject matter experts in the industry. We had representatives from Full Sail, Valencia, Motion Picture Association, SAG-AFTRA, and then we also had the unions involved, the labor unions. And so all of these groups have been heavily involved in film for years and years. In addition, we went out and reached out to all the other film programs. There's 7 other communities that have film incentives. Yeah. And we just looked at what they had. We saw presentations from a few groups, including Film Tampa Bay. And we just looked at all of the programs and tried to pick up the best. We're not going to be like Miami-Dade is, and Broward is like $12 million a year. Mm-hmm. Tampa is about $750,000. So we felt a good way to start was $5 million, but we limited it to just high-end TV commercials because our floors, you have to spend $250,000. Okay, so we're not talking about an auto dealer commercial. This is a high-end TV commercial. Right. And then for film, the minimum spend is $400,000. So again, you're getting to a little bit higher rate of film. Yeah. And we were honest with ourselves, and we did some research that said we're never going to get a Marvel movie. Right. Right. And that's okay, because nowadays with all the streaming going on, there's a big need for projects that are $25 million and under. Yeah. And can we find that market, or $10 million and under? So that's what we went for, are those smaller ones that we feel like we could fit the need. There's a niche there for us that's maybe a little bit more than what some of the other programs are and less than some of the bigger ones in South Florida. Yeah. Do you foresee that those numbers increasing at some point? I mean, I know you're starting out now, but as things continue to move forward, could that number increase? Absolutely. The Board of County Commissioners, the Orange County Board of County Commissioners, are the one that allocate tourist development tax, TDT tax dollars. So in November, I'm going to be going to the board and asking them to allocate the $25 million over 5 years. And then if it's successful, trust me, if it's successful and we can come in and say, wow, look at what the first 2 years brought in, then it's just a matter of going back to the board and asking them to put more money in. Yeah. And how, just for educational purposes, how are those numbers decided on state to state? Like in different states that have film incentive programs, how are those numbers decided? Do you know, or is it just depends on what they have, what they decide is available? The other states have big buckets of money, and I think although it's super competitive, it's super competitive. I know Louisiana is very competitive, really? But now you have other countries getting in the game, and it's all about what these major productions, they'll jump ship for some other place if they can save money some way. Yeah. Or if they are incentivized to save money. Yeah. And so I don't think we want to get caught up in that. I think we're looking for movies or productions that want to be in Florida or in a warm weather climate and have what we have to offer. And at some point we could do even more, but there's some really cool miniseries that are looking to do filming here. Like A Land Remember was just announced, and it's based on a Pulitzer Prize winning book, and about the origins of the first settlers of Florida. And they got $500,000 from the state of Florida and $500,000 from Film Tampa Bay. And it's going to be a TV series on Netflix. Well, we missed them this first season, but if they go to second season, I don't know how you can talk about the origins of Florida without getting into Central Florida and 1,000 square miles of Orlando and all of our areas. And so those are the kind of programs we're going to be going for that really need to be rooted here.
Yeah. Why do you think Orange County needs this incentive program?
I think we need to diversify our visitors. I mentioned earlier how we bring in sports tourism, which has been extremely beneficial to us, helped us get out of the pandemic when we did the NBA bubble, we did soccer during the pandemic. All of those things, sports has really helped fill the gaps. Before, you had the leisure traveler and the corporate traveler, and you had seasons. Sports has helped fill those gaps. Cultural tourism has now also filled those gaps because now we have the Dr. Phillips Center for Performing Arts, and we have a number of arts organizations here in town, and we've raised our quality so that now people will say, oh, I'm going to go to Orlando and see a Broadway production or a concert. Then we have ecotourism that we're just starting to dip our toes into the water. And so film is a way to highlight all of them, right? And it's another one of those niche markets that you can say, all right, and it has no central time of the year where it needs to film. It can be any time of the year. And that's what we like to see in tourism. We don't want to be limited to times when it's super busy. You could bring in film any time of the year.
Not to, obviously you want to stay optimistic about everything. The Tourist Development Council did unanimously approve this incentive being sent to the Board of County Commissioners for an official vote. How likely, or what is your take on how you think this vote can go? Are you optimistic, or what are your feelings about that?
Well, I'm optimistic because I presented to the Board of County Commissioners last October. I've presented 2 times now. One to start the working group, and then the second I came in with the mid-year, and I told them we were going to be asking for the $25 million. And we had to wait because we needed to see how 2025 went tourism-wise, and then we needed time for the working group to finalize everything. So I came in with a kind of like a midterm report, told them what we would be asking for, got their input on the incentives, how we're going to operate this, and then went back and included all of their input into what we're going to be bringing back in November. So they won't be surprised.
That's good to know. Because you had mentioned film students and the talent being here, but having to move to where the opportunities are. So that's why I asked the question, because even with them having all the information, say it doesn't get approved. What happens next in terms of how do we continue to show filmmakers, film students that Orange County is a place where they can come to create their art and their projects?
If for some reason we don't get approval in November, we'll find out why and come back and keep asking. Keep asking. I mean, I don't think this is something that has so much potential and is exactly what we're looking for. It's high-wage jobs. It's the visibility that we need. I mean, even just on Hallmark, when they do a Hallmark movie, they air it for 10 years. 6 times a year for 10 years.
It's a loyal station.
Right? I mean, a lot of times. And so I would say we would keep trying. We would keep trying.
Now that you've outlined everything and you've done the research and you've worked with the subject matter experts and everything's put together and it's now being finally presented, do you feel that you've been successful in putting all your efforts together in this initiative to get it to the BCC to get that vote of yes?
I think we have worked very hard and quickly to pull this program together. I just walked out of, I've been working on a 37-page standard operating procedures that looks at everything, selection criteria, everything, and it's in draft form, and I have to have it finalized because we have 2 agenda items. We're going to have a discussion on November 18th, but the board has to approve a resolution establishing the film program and then also putting it in the tourist development plan and allocating the funding for the program. So I have to have all of that documentation ready by November 18th, which requires, so I think we have done a lot. And this, let me just tell you, the last film working group meeting was incredible. It was 3 hours. And we went through line by line, page by page, over everything, and everybody stayed and was engaged. So I think the fact that we've had such incredible subject matter experts involved in this process, and we've done our research, we've found a way to ensure a return on investment, which, by the way, I should mention, we don't pay anything until after the production is finished. And they have to do their own third-party audit to prove to us, and then we can see that they have to have a distribution deal. Okay, that's one of the big changes from 2016 state program is that distribution. So that's a big deal for us.
Right. So is that a way of making sure that these projects come and not only film here, but actually show you that what they film is gonna get to the next level?
Absolutely, is the distribution, the airing of it, and then that way, and again, if we're max is 20% of the project spend here in Orange County, then that means we've made 80% on this, right? So we're not paying anything. This is like a rebate program. We pay you after the fact, so that we have little risk. And we know we have to have a distribution deal like Netflix or something, or it's aired on, the commercial has aired. And so we have proof that actually this project fulfilled every obligation before we spend any money.
And because that's your incentive, Orange County's incentive of saying, okay, we can continue this program because we're seeing that return on investment. We provided you the funding, you've come, you filmed it, it's gone to distribution, we can see it, it's tangible, and now we know we can keep moving forward and offering this.
Absolutely, and then we'll go back and say at the end of the year, this is how many hotel room nights we created, and then when the nice thing it's a circle, because we are using TDT money, which is a bed tax, right? And then when we bring in people and they stay in hotel rooms, they create more TDT tax that we then spend on films. So we keep replenishing the bucket.
I am grateful that you have continued this program. I know some filmmakers who are looking for something like this so that they can continue. They're local, they're here, they want to stay here, but they want that, support in their efforts to do their projects. And something like this would be very, very beneficial to them, because I've also seen the flip side too of people needing to relocate because they don't have that support here to do the work that they want to do. So I would say, on behalf of that community, those film students and those producers, and myself just as an entertainment reporter, that I'm very grateful that you have created this program. And I'm grateful that you took the time to meet with us today, so thank you.
Well, thank you for having me, and please tell everybody to come out November 18th in the afternoon. Meeting starts at 2 o'clock. We have public comment, and it can be brief. It can only be 30 seconds, 1 minute, but we would love to even just have them in the audience, because if this gets approved, this is a big day in Orange County. It will be a big day in Orange County, and we would love to have you and everybody else there to help celebrate with us.
Of course. Thank you for your time. We'll be there.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
To learn more about the Orange County Film Incentive Program, you can visit the website at www.ocfl.net.